Okay, hello everybody. Hope your day is going great. Okay, so let's see. Everything seems to be good. Put my mic up a little bit more. Gonna put up some background music for this because I'm gonna draw my life. But I've been thinking about doing this for a long time. But because I don't know how to edit, I've tried, but not getting anywhere. I decided I'll do it live because then it will be saved and stuff on YouTube here. So yeah, so let's start. Just gonna put on something in the background. Yeah. It's not too loud. I can still hear myself. That's good. Okay, so I don't have a whiteboard, so you're gonna have to deal with me using it in here. So let's first write up the title so I can use the thumbnail later. Like a little bit thicker. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna grab I think a purple will do. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. So, where to start? Beginning, I guess. I was born in Sweden. Let me draw out Sweden. I was born in Sweden on the west coast, in a small city outside of Gothenburg called Mölndal. Draw myself too. Yeah, so I was born. I was a normal, healthy baby. All was well. Like, I had a healthy weight. Just like a normal little infant. I was born January 15th, 1985 at 2:42 in the morning. And yeah, all was well. Like, everything seemed normal. That's it. Until I opened my eyes. When your baby opens their eyes for the first time, it's usually a very happy moment. Except when I open my eyes. My mom took a look at me. My parents took a look at me. And she said there's something wrong with me. And then she asked my dad to go and get the nurse so she could take a look. And the nurse, they said she's just unique. But what my parents saw was anything but unique. Well, maybe. Depends on how you look at it. See, I'm gonna draw two eyes for a second. Just eye right here. This will be the normal eye. And then over here we're gonna have what my parents saw. Okay, two eyes. Normal. Just gonna grab a random color. Well, let's grab my color, because my eyes are brown. So let's grab a nice brown. Here. A nice brown. Let me select that real quick. Actually, let me grab both of them, because okay. So let me fill the one eye right here. This one right here. This is gonna be the healthy eye. What you usually would see. Nice and clear. That looks like a very healthy eye. Let's add some shines on that one. Like this. This is what you normally would see. There's nothing wrong with that eye. Now we'll go over here. Let me just switch up the music to something more appropriate. Okay, so this eye. Well, let me just first draw in the pupil so I know where it is. Okay. I'm gonna grab this, and I'm gonna grab this. This is what my parents saw. Oh, one more thing. That's what my parents saw when I opened my eyes. Now, this is very uncommon for children to be born with, so I think that's why the nurse shook it off like, oh, she'll grow out of it. But I didn't. I don't remember, but my mom told me that the first months of my life, well, I could have been blind, but also I could have died. Because not only were my eyes like that, but I couldn't eat anything. Like whenever she'd either feed me the bottle or breastfeed, I couldn't eat anything. So it turns out, it turned out that I was like allergic to everything except for a thing that my mom and dad got from the pharmacist, the drugstore. Well, my dad told me it was something that they mixed with, like, was it rice flour or rice milk, something? And when he tried it, it tasted like a rusty pipe, like iron pipe. But had it not been for that, I would not be here today. Now back to the ice. I spent my most of my time, if we were not going outside, in a very dark room. Let's see. Let me fill this in with. Yeah, I spent a good portion of my first year in a very dark room. My mom only had like a tiny candle as a light for herself. And I also had a sister, which I did not see. She was like sitting on the floor, playing in the dark. Because if I would go outside without anything covering my eyes, I would cry and cry and cry. There. Crying, crying. Because there was something hurting my eyes. Something was really hurting my eyes, and that was the sunlight. Because with this condition in my eyes that I had, when you have healthy eye lenses, you know, the things that helps you like see and focus. When you have healthy ones, they protect your eyes from the strong light that comes from the sun. But when they're damaged, like mine was, You don't have the protection, it just, your eyes hurt a lot. Only way for my mom to take me out and I would be like content and not hurting. Let me just erase that and erase my tears, because if she did this, I was happy. Well, at least content. Only way for her to like bring me outside so I could actually get some sunlight, because you need sunlight, is if she put a very dark towel over my eyes. Probably very warm, but at least I could be outside. Well, at least with this, I could be outside and be happy. Okay, let me just erase some of these. There. But my mom kept telling people that something's wrong, they need to do something. And a lot of the hospitals and doctors say, no, there's nothing wrong with me. They can't do anything. But my mom wouldn't give up. She searched like high and low. Finally, one doctor would take a look at me. Don't remember his name. I think it was Johan. And he was a professor at Sahlgrenska, which is like, it's a hospital, but it's also a university for those who wants to become doctors and stuff. And they had an eyes clinic. And so my mom took me there. Let's see. I'm terrible at drawing cars, but yeah. There. Yeah. But yeah, she took me to the hospital, and the doctor takes one look at me. He takes one look at me and says the words, she has cataract. And also, She needs surgery right now. Because if I didn't have that surgery, I will go blind. She can go blind. And so they scheduled my surgery appointment. Which turned into 12 surgeries to remove this. At I had 12 surgeries before my first birthday. And the last part, I remember. Well, I don't remember, but they told me. They removed it laser. Not only just looks like a knife, but they removed the last part with laser, which was pretty new back then. So, the first portion of my life, it looked like this. First, I had a cataract, so I cannot see, and the sunlight was hurting me. 2, I couldn't eat. And if nothing was done, I could have been dead. But I survived that. But also I could be blind, so that means that I would not be able to do art or anything. But the thing with the cataract, I ended up in the bulletins or headlines. Cataract child, yeah. I remember it, like my mom showing me all the newspaper out clips and stuff that she had saved. Like, it was pretty big because, children aren't born with cataract. It's just no. So, it was a big deal. But anyway, so I had my surgery. And now I had clear eyes finally. I can see. Well, I can see, but I can't see. Because, when they remove cataract, it's usually done in older patients. Let's see. They usually remove the damaged lens. I'm just gonna draw a damaged eye lens. Like this thing here, this is a damaged eye lens that is being eaten away by cataract. And this is a healthy lens. It's like, yeah. That's the thing you see out of. Normally, when they remove this from your eye, they replace it with an artificial ones. But because I was a child and my eyes were still growing, they could not put new lenses in because they would have to change them every time I started growing. So I went from since I was born until I was 15. Without having any lenses in my eyes. I'm gonna show you what it's like. How to do this the best way. Oh no, let me import the picture. Let me import a nice picture, a nice pretty picture. Something with a lot of clarity. Let's use this thing here. Okay, you see this? This is very clear. You can see it. It's good. Now let me see if I can show you what I saw. If I didn't have any like custom contact lenses or anything. Copy that. Okay, now get the blur. Let's see if I can get it to where I remember. Yeah, like that. But also, let me see if I can get a tone on this thing. Let's see. Can I have some dots and a lot of them? It was like this, but more blurry. So imagine like the static on TV that we call, or we would call it the War of the Ants. Will the white ants win, or will the black ones win? But pretty much this is what I saw. It was very blurry. And so I was prescribed some pretty thick lenses and glasses. To show, I'm gonna draw myself again. Let's see here. That's me. Normal eyes. Yep, that's me. You can't see, but still happy. The sun is not hurting me anymore. Okay, so let me copy that. Put myself over here. And now let me show you what I look like with those glasses that I got. Glasses. Okay. Now let me grab my eyes. Let's see if I can do this. Move the eyes into the picture again. Basically, these glasses made my eyes look really big. Like real anime eyes. But it was the result of like me being able to see and stuff. We kind of compare them to like, you know, the bottom of those Coca-Cola glass bottles. The bottom of that, they're really thick. That was pretty much it. I was happy. I can see. It was great. But with those glasses and stuff came bullying. Like, I was bullied hard because of the way I looked, because of my glasses being that way, that my eyes were big, and because of the way I was acting. Doesn't matter. It didn't matter. Anything was like free gain for them. Like, I was called Four Eyes. I was called, I don't remember. But this went on for a little. I can't. This went on for 12 years. I was bullied for 12 years straight by the same people. And sometimes the teachers were there, but they didn't do anything. They just watched and let it happen. I'm not sure why, but they just kept letting it happen. Like, they saw it, but they didn't see it at the same time. That was rough, because, as a child, you want to be able to, trust that you're being safe and stuff, but I wasn't. But at least I wasn't alone. I had past tense, not anymore. I had one friend. Actually, I had a couple of friends, but one. I had one that stuck by me for a lot of years. Finally, someone who didn't care about what I looked like or anything, just friends. We were friends. Even though her parents didn't like me at all. Why? Why wouldn't they like me too? Because I was being different. I was having my own quirks. Like, I could sit by myself and play and be very, into what I was doing. Like, you couldn't get through me. When I was focused on something, it's like, nope, I'm not here. But also I would do things like, I had no, let's call it a filter. Normally, people have this filter that's like what I think. Like, they usually filter out the bad stuff. Like, should I really say this? Or this is what I think, but I shouldn't say it. I should just say a white lie. Well, in my case, I didn't have that. It just came out. Like, for example, let's see, I'm just gonna draw up a lady over here. Yeah, lady, right here. Yeah, lady, right here. And Let's see, she has a dress or shirt. That she's very proud of having. Let me just shrink her so I can fit the other stuff in. Yeah, like that. Okay, so she's there. She's happy. She has this new shirt she just bought. Yep. And then comes me. Yeah, in comes me. Let me just copy that one so I can reuse this. No, not me. Well, yeah, I can use me too. Like that. Let's have her look at me. There, and this is what I would say about her shirt. That's what I would say. Normally, that's something you wouldn't say to somebody because that would hurt somebody. But because I didn't have that filter, I just said whatever came to mind because, yeah, I didn't have it. So if I saw something I did not like, I would say it right out and probably hurt a lot of people in the process. Because of this, people were pretty mad at me. Like, I remember angry faces. Both from adults and kids. And most would come both at me and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing wrong because I was saying the truth. Like, I didn't sugarcoat it. I just said it right out. Like, yeah. But people don't like when you do that. But mom, she had to like gently correct me. And she was getting tired of it too. She would say, which I was confused about because I was saying the truth and I thought being truthful was a good thing. But it wasn't. In society, that's pretty bad. Even like nowadays, if you say the truth about something, you always get some flame. But anyway, I remember it. It was when I was 9. We finally got it on paper why I was being so quirky. I was diagnosed with Asperger's. And if anybody knows what Asperger's is about, one thing that is a trait is that we say the truth. We don't lie. Except when we are grown up, when we grow up and we learn that we have to learn to lie about things or hold back things that we want to say but we can't say because it would hurt somebody. It's a fine line. But from that, I was told by my mom learn to act. Learn to play and act. Like, don't be myself. So, from when I was 9, I was taught to not be myself, to play an act, to put on a facade, like a mask, hiding the real me, and be whoever society wanted me to be. I mean, she was my mom, and mom knows best. That's what I thought back then. But I had my saving, I guess. Because with all this drama and bad stuff around me, let's see if I can draw up a TV real quick. I had my TV. I was very happy to have my TV. Here I could sit all day, every day. Here I can sit all day, every day, and not worry about people thinking poorly about me. And what would be on that TV? Let's see. At first, let me just draw in here. It's easier to do. At first, it was stuff like, let's see. It will be stuff with horses. I loved horses. It was great. But then it was like Then we had My Little Pony. What else was there? Oh, I can just do this with my brush here. There. Smaller. One show that really got me going for a while was a show called Rainbow Bright. But it wasn't for like the show itself. I loved the show, but it wasn't what drew me in. It was the magical horses that were in there. Like this one horse that could like run on the rainbows. Or another that would run on storm clouds. So while the show itself was great, I loved them. That's what got me interested. It was always about the animals. Like magical animals, talking animals. Yep. I was all for it. And then, let's see. How old was I? I think I was like 4, 5. And I saw one of my first introductions to like sort of the intro world, I guess you could call it. This show was the first thing I got really obsessed with. Like, I didn't want to miss a single episode. I remember it came on during, like, after school in the afternoon. Like, I think was it like 6:30 or was it 5:30? I remember so vividly. I would, like, rush home from school because I wanted to see this. And then Saturday morning cartoons, it was on at the same time. I know exactly what was before it though. I remember I was sitting there and then first it was James Bond Jr. Yeah, that was a good show. I actually liked that one. And as soon as that was done, like I would run and get the like my Saturday candy and all that and sit down like, yep, because now was time for the Turtles. I love them. I was obsessed for years. Like the first time I saw them when I was a kid, I started drawing them and drawing them and drawing them. It was nothing but that and horses. That and horses. Like my walls were covered. Not just like the canon characters themselves, but I would make my own characters too. Like I had one with blue bandanas. No, yellow. I don't remember their name, but yeah, I had one. And I also had one with like a very light blue and stuff. I don't remember, but just remembering the colors. And then shortly after, I think I was like 6, 5. Don't remember, but I know I was very young. I saw another show, which was my first introduction to anime. Let's see, let's draw. No. Just gonna draw up a dog real quick. Just gonna do a silhouette. This show, I thought it was movies first, but then later on I realized it's a whole show with like Was it 26 episodes or something like that? Was it 21? I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched, but yeah. This show was about dogs going to war against bears. And I remember I was super obsessed. How we got a hold of this one, it was a friend of my dad's had all the VHS tapes that was released in Sweden. And back then, this show was censored big time, like really big time. They cut out whole episodes of it. Because, which I learned later on when I saw the full one, it's very graphic. It's extremely graphic. But when they released they released this one in Sweden, like, yeah, I watched that like all day, every day until like finally my dad's friend is like, you can have them because you like them so much. So I was like, yay, I have them. And then I lost them. I don't know where they are. Anyway, that show was called in Sweden Silverfang. But its name's something else, and I'm gonna write it out. Because, yes, for you anime lovers out there, I'm not sure if you've heard of this one. If you haven't, you should really check it out. It's really good. That's what the title is, and this show is the reason I learned how to draw dogs. It's because of that I learned to draw dogs. And let's see, later on in the 90s, I come across another furry-ish, I guess, show. And let me see, which one did I see first? I think I saw them first. Yeah, I was still in elementary school. Let me see. This was a show that was on Cartoon Network, which I had. It looks so bad. That's the show that I saw in the middle of 90s somewhere. It's called SWAT Cats, and I was fascinated. Why? Because it was a world of just cats. It was just cats, nothing else. And I was intrigued, like, ooh, these are animal people, like the magical animals I've been growing up seeing, but actually like walking and talking like a person. It's like, what is this? And so I started drawing fan art of that, and yeah. And let's see, the last one that had a big impact on me was early teens. I think, was it early teens? It's close to my early teens. Then I got introduced to one that nailed everything in for me. See if I can still draw this logo. Looks like it has dipple horns. There we go. That was the last, like, furry-ish anthro magical animals that I saw that really made an impact before my teens. So those three things in my early childhood is what made me start drawing animal people. I was happy at this TV. I could watch my shows and stuff, and I was happy. And normally my mom would leave me there because that was my happy place. That, and I also love dinosaurs. I remember there was one show that I loved a lot. Let's see if I can draw a dinosaur. Okay, I'm drawing them a bit more accurate now than what they were in the show. Let's say here you have a raptor, right? But this raptor would have a saddle and a person riding it, which was like, oh my god, yay, I want to do that. It was called Dino Riders. It's an old, I think, 80s show. It only has like 13 episodes, which is sad because I loved it. Basically, humans fall through a wormhole and end up in prehistoric Earth, and they befriend dinosaurs. It's great. It's like a modern take of the Flintstones, I guess. Anyway, so the TV was my best friend back then, normally, and because we were pretty poor and stuff, we didn't have all the new technology, I guess. Okay, so that was the obsession with TVs and what else is there? We got the bullying in. Was harassed for 12 years. Spoke about my eyes. Oh, maybe. What else is there? What else is there to talk about? Oh yeah, another thing that I was really into. I guess you could have guessed it already, but I was. Oh wait, that's too small. I was obsessed with animals of all kind, but I think the one that really got me, like, going over is horses. I love them. I grew up around them. Well, sort of. I started riding when I was 3, I think it was. Like, I know I was very young when I first got on a horseback. Yeah, I think it was like that. And I remember when I was. Maybe I should bring that up too then. So, my family, well, I haven't really spoken about them. At first, it was. Well, here's me. mom. Gonna move us over here. Then there was my big sister. And then there was my dad. Beard and nice hair. But then, like, I was one, so I shouldn't be this big, but I was 1 years old. They separated. And why do I squiggle this line between me and my sister? Because when they divorced, my dad suggested that we should, like, share, I guess. And because there was two of us. Yeah, so my dad suggested mom takes me and I go live with my mom so she can like monitor my eyes and stuff. And he takes my big sister away and lives there. So me and my big sister were split up. And only times I got to see her was on every other weekend and summer holidays and stuff like that. So we split up, but with that splitting up, there were more family members happening. Like, my mom got with another guy for a while. I'm gonna draw him in here. And Dad, he got with another wife. I'm gonna try green. With these new family members, I guess, there were new siblings happening. Like, with my mom and her and you, we had a little girl, and on this side we have two girls. But these don't happen until a bit later. It's hard for me to look at these two because my mom's new husband, I guess, was not a good person. He seemed nice, but he hurt me. Like, we got back from a carnival, and I remember he threw me into the bathroom and I hit the toilet bowl real hard. But he was always cranky, always grumpy, all of that stuff, so my mom decided to divorce him and he got nasty. And he also did stuff with her, with my little sister here. I'm not gonna say what, but I think you can imagine what he did to her. That's why there's no contact with that guy anymore. Even my sister is like, no, you're gone. You think it would end there with being abused by grown-ups, but no. My dad's new wife, see, there she is. She was the same way. She was hurting me, and she tried to hurt my big sister, but because my big sister is kind of like that herself, she didn't dare to, but she got after me because I was the weak one. But my big sister usually stood up for me, so yeah. But yeah, having two step parents that abuse you, yeah, that was my life. Anyway, despite everything, things turned out great. And let's see, let's remove this because I want to show my siblinghood. There, okay. Let's see, that's them, yeah. Okay, let's remove that. I'm gonna copy, I'm gonna paste it because I'm gonna need him soon. Wait, go back. Because I'm not done with talking about him. So let me just do that and that. And hide. I'm gonna do the same with Mum. Not done talking about her either, so let's do this. Alright, now we have me, my sister there. Okay, so here, my big sis. Then we have where'd she go? There she is. Then we have this sister from the bad stepdad. And then we have these two from the bad stepmom. But I also have a big brother from another marriage with my dad. Didn't see him that often growing up though, because he lived in Norway. Not sure why they moved to Norway, but they did. And then, much later on, the family circle for me was complete, because we had another girl and a little brother. So, let us count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 children, except one of them does not belong to Dad. This right here. Besides that, that's my whole siblinghood. It's kind of nice actually, you know. But I didn't see my big brother that often because he lived so far away. It wasn't until late 2000s when I finally got to see him again, and then it disappeared again. But it was nice. I wasn't alone. And even though I was being bullied, like not just in like daycare or wherever, but also like at home, like kids from the neighborhood. Like kids from the neighborhood, they would laugh at me because of my big glasses. That's why they did it. But I had a protector. Like, I had a protector. My sister. My big sister. She would walk right up into their faces and she would punch them blue. And she said, like, when the parent of this kid would come home to my mom or my dad and say, "This is what your kid did to my kid." And this is what my sister said. That's what she said. No one is allowed to pick on Rebecca but me. I think that's one of the most endearing things I've ever heard anybody say about me. Like, yeah, no one's allowed to bully me. I remember her in school, like when I was being bullied by the same group all the time. She would fly at them for doing that to me. Even during like junior high, I was protected by her friends and stuff. And then as soon as they moved up into like high school and I was alone, they got worse and worse and worse. I remember so many times I was like being pushed down on the ground and hurt, and teachers would just stand there, don't do anything. They just watched while it happened. Had it been today, I'm not sure if like if the authorities would agree to that. I'm not sure. Anyway, that was my early childhood. Let's see. I'm gonna draw that up again. Oh, there it is. Because I had some issues with him too. There were a few things. Oh, yeah, there's Mom. So there were a few things that I grew up around. Didn't really think about it, I guess, but looking back at it now, it's probably not a good way for a child to grow up. Don't remember exactly when it started to get worse, but ever since I was small, my dad would enjoy drinking. Let's see, so I've got a beer can right here. A beer can. I just thought it was normal. Like, I grew up with this. My dad always had a beer in his hand and stuff. I also remember one of my fondest memories was to go with him when he was working. Because my dad, let's see if I can draw one. I'm very bad at these. Okay, so that's the nose. That's the cabin part. No, go back. That's the cabin part. And then the rest of it. And then back part. Kind of stairs right here. And the bed. And let's see. If you can tell, it's very poorly done, but my dad was a truck driver for a long time. Like, that was his job. And I loved going with him on his missions and deliveries and that stuff. It was great. I remember I was like, don't remember how old I was when I started to be able to climb up into these things myself. It's like, I guess it was like climbing a mountain because they're very tall. And I felt so big sitting there. You know, the trucks are so high up and I was so small. It was great. I loved it. I loved going to his office, or, you know, it was great. And then as soon as workday was over, he would come home and he would crack a beer open. I didn't think of that. I was young. It was like normal, I guess. I didn't notice anything. It wasn't, I guess, it wasn't until I was like 10 when it started to get worse. But again, I didn't think about it because I was 10 and it was normal for me. The movie over there. I remember I was 10 and my dad, he bought a farm. There, red farm. And our house was white. It had the classical black door. There. Yeah, anyway, we had a farm. It was great. We had a horse. But also his drinking got worse here. Like, let's move him up here. He would start drinking more and more. And more. Now looking at it, I don't remember a day when he wasn't drunk. He was always drunk. Always. Like, just a few beers turned into a lot of beers. And it got worse and worse. I don't remember much. Just that this was normal for me, so I didn't see it as something bad. I didn't even think that he was taking us to this in. It was nice. And he would sit at the bar. Let's see. He would sit at a bar. He would sit at the bar and he would order drinks. Drinks after drinks after drinks. And me and my big sister would be there. Though we didn't care. Like, we were getting sodas and candy and like, he was never the bad kind of drunk that would like neglect stuff. He made sure that we were eating and we were healthy and we weren't hurt or anything. So I guess that's why I didn't really see it as a problem. Because, I mean, he was still looking after us. We were still fine. But it got worse and worse. I just remember we were with him all the time while he was drinking with his friends. Just looking back at it, like, you feel so stupid when you see what happened. Anyway, I was 10. I was 10. And it was also because my dad has such a big house, and me and my sister was usually left like doing our own thing and stuff while he was drinking. I remember sitting in my room, or our room. I was 10 still. And my sister was 12. Yeah, 12 and a half at the time. We were sitting there and she was holding something. She was holding something and I was curious. And so she gives me one to try. I know this was very stupid, but you try at least once, and so I grabbed one. Because your big sibling, she has always been like my hero of some sort, because she stood up for me while I was being bullied. So, I wanted to be like her. And so I tried it too. Again, I was 10. And this is when I had my first cigarette. Normally, when you try it the first time, either you get sucked into it or you don't. If you have tried it and you stayed away from it, good. If you never tried it, very good. I sadly was one of those who got hooked on it, and I started to sneak behind my parents' back and started smoking more. My dad usually didn't call me because he was usually drunk and stuff, and so it was easy to like grab cigarettes from him. My mom was more suspicious though. She had been held up smoking for like 10 years since she got me and my big sis. But then she started smoking again, so now I was surrounded by people who were smoking. And so I thought I wanted to try because it looked cool. It's not cool. It's dangerous. Please, kids, don't. Like, don't do this. Don't. It's not cool. It's dangerous. I'm still stuck in it. I've been trying to go and quit like on and off, but I always fall back, and usually when I try to quit, you get cranky and then people get hurt. Anyway, so that was me smoking. What else is there? Back to me and my best friend. This was my best friend. Let's draw her here. Let's see, now we're like like 12, 13, It's great. My mom and I were living near a beach. It's great. It was like 5-minute walk to the beach. It was great. But also here is where we we started this way earlier, but this is where it kicked up more. We started to as a kid you play pretend and all that. Well, we kept doing it for a long time. Like, both of us, we were into the cartoons that I was showing before, the turtles and all that. So we would pretend that we were them. Like, we took all the 4 turtle brothers, right? And we split them in half because they're 4, so we split them up like this. I got Raphael, and I think, yes, I got Leo. And my friend, she got, wait, no, not that one. This one's better. And she got Mikey. Great. We have our characters. Now we get to play them. And it was great. But then it grew. We added more characters. We added sons, wives. We added the biker mice. We added humans. We added cat girls. And I lost count, but after a while we had over 1,000 characters in that world. It was great. It was hard switching between all of them, but it was fun, and we were doing it like verbally, and it was before I knew what this was. It was like role playing, but it's like face to face. So it's like, I guess it would be like D&D, I guess, but we didn't have like papers to go after or something. It was just all mind, like theater of the mind. It was great, awesome, and that's how my like joy of creating worlds and storylines and stuff start growing. Again, this is before I knew what furry was, or anthro, or anything. But I remember, like, I would always go for the animals, like magical animals. If I saw anything that has to do with magical animals, I would watch that. It was great. But now we're moving into the 2000s. Yeah. No, late 90s. I remember that one. One of my first run-ins with bad luck, I guess. Me and my friend was at a beach. We had been swimming, so we were drying up and stuff and getting changed to go back home. I was getting changed. I think I was like 13. Was I 14? Anyway, we thought it was just us here, so we weren't modest, I guess. We got undressed like in Sweden. On the beaches, it's like, at least back then, it was not bad if, let's say, you decided to sunbathe topless, even as a girl. People don't care. Like, it's not seen as bad to be naked in public in some areas. But at this time, I don't know why they would go after me, because the way I was dressing, it was horrible. I had red leather pants and pink clog shoes. It was horrible. Like, why do I wear that? Anyway, I was getting dressed, right? And a group of guys sees us. Teenagers, I bet. I don't remember, but I know they were much older than us. I don't remember much, but I remember one guy. He had me pinned, I remember. He had me pinned and his friends pinned my friend. And I'm just gonna leave it to your imagination here, because yeah, it almost happened. It didn't happen, thankfully, because I started screaming, so they took off. But yeah. That's all I remember. I screamed for help, and then he took off. He and his friends took off. Yeah, I remember that. But it almost happened. It didn't happen, thankfully. But after that, I was being more like careful and timid around people, I guess. And then I remember we had moved back into town, and I've been having like yearly visits to the eye doctor. just to see how my eyes were doing, how they were healing, and you know, are they done growing yet, and all that. And so one day, like, I asked the same question I ask every time. When will I get my surgery? Every time. Every time I went to go see them, that was my question. And I remember I was I was 15 when it happened. And the doctor finally said, we have a free slot tomorrow. And hearing that was the best I've heard in my life, I think. Besides being your sister. But that meant I was getting my surgery so I could see. Finally. No more blur. So the day came. They did the surgery. I remember going home from the hospital, and looking through the bandage that I had. I had this little bandage over my eye. It was still, a little bit bloody and stuff from the surgery. It was faint, but now I could see. Through that eye, I could see. That they did it like in stages. They did the first one, and then they waited for that one to heal, and then they did the other. But I could finally see on that one eye. It was great. I could finally see. No more blur. Though, I have to say, like, for not being able to see for 15 years, it came with something good. Because with my world being a blur and all that, my other senses got stronger. Like, I think my best sense is probably my sense of smell, but also touch. Like, I can walk past someone's home. Like, I can walk past somebody's home and I smell they're cooking, right? And I can tell you exactly what they're cooking by the smell. Like, I can say it's pork, and there's some bacon in there too, and there's some cream sauce, I believe. But not just that, I can smell something that my mom can't. See, I live in a place where it's pretty windy, right? And sometimes the wind comes from the west. And then I can say, I smell the ocean. I can smell the ocean, like, when it goes from the west, like the wind comes in from the west, that's where the ocean is. I can smell it in the wind. It's weird. I guess. Because I asked my mom, like, can't you do that? She's like, no, I cannot. So, something good came out of that, and later that year I had my surgery. I can finally see. But during this time, something else happened. I met a guy. I'm drawing like this. There he is. He seemed nice at first. He was nice at first, like they usually are. And we were in love. It was great. This was my first like actual real relationship. Like it lasted for a long time. For 2.5 years it lasted. But I did not see until I moved. He was a bad one. He was a bad one. I remember the first time he hit me. But that wasn't the bad part. It was the mental stuff. Those type of things, like I kept hearing worthless, useless, can't do anything. But I think the worst part, because I was not ready for all of that, I was forced into it in the bedchamber. Like, I was not ready for that. I did not want that, but it happened anyway. I remember lying there crying because it hurt. And he just said, stop crying, that's childish. Grow up. I was just 15, by the way. And he was 21. Normally in the States and stuff, that would be him being a pedo, but in Sweden, it's not like that. The year of consent is 15. I was 15. So he wasn't doing anything wrong except for the mental abuse. But I got saved. It was 2003. I remember it. You remember my friend, right? Well, she showed me this website Show me this website on your computer. I I had a computer, yeah, but it didn't come in until later, I think. But show me this website, right? It's called DeviantArt, where you can show off your art and stuff, and my mind was blown. Like, oh my god, people can actually show stuff here. I want to do the same. So I quickly create an account. Let me just... so here. There. I needed a name. I was sitting there remembering I needed a name, but I could not think of anything. Not until I remember there was a comic that I used to read. Remember I told you I was pretty obsessed with the turtle comics and stuff. And in this one series, I remember there was this fox girl. Her name was Ninjara, and she was Raphael's girlfriend. They were super cute. I loved their couple. Yeah, it was a great couple. But anyway, her name, I learned later that was not her real name. Her actual name was Yumeko, and I liked that name. I liked it a lot, so I tried it. So I tried it. And then a title password. And I was happy because it wasn't taken. I could use it. Awesome. So then I got my DeviantArt account. Let's see if I can replicate that green screen. Yes, I think that's pretty close. So I signed up on DeviantArt and I started posting my artwork. It was great. Just posting some pencil stuff that I had done. And then I met some people. Like, oh my god, people saw my stuff. One of the first people was Rimfire. I remember it. He was one of the reasons why I joined DeviantArt, because my friend had a drawing that he had made for her. And like, ooh, I want to see more. So she showed me his page, right? And like, oh, he's so good. I started talking to him and like, hello, like I like your art and all that, and I'd like to do a request and all that. Sure, he drew something for me. Don't remember what it was now. I think it was one of my cat girls. Um, then I joined, and we started talking. A lot. A lot. And that hello went from, I'm not sure, but let's say in the afternoon, like that's 4 p.m. until like we lost track of time. We started talking a lot, and I think me talking to him saved me from the abuse that my other boyfriend was putting me through. He was opening like my eyes to what he was doing because I felt worthless and useless, just like my ex told me I was. And Rimfire showed me no, you're not. And so it was 2003 ish. I moved home to mom and broke up with him. But the nail in the coffin, I guess it was when my ex proposed, right? For us to be engaged. Got me a ring and all. It was great. I was happy, though I was pretty young, so not sure why I would fall for that. But I did. And so when we broke up, I got the truth. And this is what he said. I only I only proposed to you so you could do the housework better. That was the reason why he proposed to me. So, yeah, I left him and moved back home. And I started to date Rimfire for a while. It was great. It was good. I liked him. I still do. He's still a good friend of mine. Very good friend. But it only lasted for like a year. Because then I met someone else through him. Looking at this name, it brings back so much anxiety just reading it. But here's my life, right? So I met this person with this name. And the more I spoke to him, the more I was drawn to him. I don't know. He had a He had a nice personality, he seemed nice, he was nice. And after about a year or so of talking, I fell in love. Head over heels. It was great. So I decided I'm gonna take a big leap of faith and I'm gonna go be with him. Because I wanted to show, I guess, how serious I was. And so I moved. I remember it was 2005. I was just about to turn over to 2006. So I moved. And lived in Canada. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and draw a maple leaf, but I'm not great at them. Yeah. But here I stayed for for 3.5 years. I stayed with him in Canada. At first, it was nice. It was great. I was in love. And I met so many nice people there, and I enjoyed it even though it got pretty cold at times. I remember it got really cold at times. But I didn't mind because I liked being with him. But then it started. Um, I don't remember when it started. I just he started to get angry, like sometimes over nothing. I remember so many times I would be cowering on the floor with him standing over me. Afraid that he would do something. And sometimes he did. It was physical, it was mental. All these things, they change a person. But I still stayed around because since I was all alone in Canada, that was the only safe zone I had, I guess, even though it wasn't really a safe zone. But my saving came. I was feeling weird, right? So I took one of those tests, a pregnancy test, and it came out positive. I was pregnant. And again, instead of being happy, he got even more violent. I remember one time we had a small spat, I guess. Me with my pregnancy hormones, and he being him. He came up behind me, right? And took me in a chokehold from behind. And he told me I had been, like, marked. I had no idea what that meant, but I was scared, like, terrified. Like, why would he do this? Why is he doing this? And so I saw no other option than to tell Mom. But I couldn't talk to her, like, while I was over at home, like, at home. So I went to the library because you can use their internet right there for free. And so I told Mom everything. I told her absolutely everything. He has been hurting me for years. Now I am pregnant. I am terrified. That was all I had to say. That was all I had to say. Mom pulled so many strings and everything, and then she got me on a plane to go home. Finally, I'm going home. I'm leaving that person behind because that's no place for a child to be brought into. But you think he would, like, stop after I moved that out? But no. I was back in Sweden. and he would still control me over the internet. It's like he had this invisible chain around me. Whatever he said, I listened. Like I had no self-esteem nor anything. It was like no. So he kept his abuse up, the mental stuff, tearing me down, telling me promises that yes, yes, he would come and be with me and the baby and everything. But he never came. Now I remember it was 5 months in after my daughter has been born, and he had better spoken to me, or he'd get mad at me for not being online and talk, because he wanted to me to be there 24/7 when I was having to take care of the baby. So after living almost 4 years in Canada, I finally moved home. I I understand the language completely, like Swedish, but I cannot speak it. It took me a week or so to be able to speak it again. But I did not know the damage he had done until a few months later. Um, I started to feel lower and lower. Like I felt so worthless. Probably was pretty worthless as a mom too. That's what I thought. I was taking care of my baby to the best of my ability, even with the way I was feeling. But it was slowly going down. Like, the best way I can describe it is like just like dark clouds going over me. Slowly see going into my soul. Just did not. I started to feel less and less happy. Actually, I didn't know when what was the last time I actually was happy. Besides when my daughter was born. Okay, so onwards. I was still with the guy. It was May, I remember. I was home alone, like I had nobody to talk to really. It was just me and my daughter in my apartment all alone, so I was thinking, like, what can I do to entertain myself? So I remember I had seen an ad on, I think it was on DeviantArt, of a game. At least I thought it was a game. And I remember I had asked my ex, like, what's this? What kind of place is that? And he said I am not allowed to go on there because it's all about, like, porn is a bad place full of bad people. But so I got curious, I guess, because, well, I can at least look, and if it's bad, then I'm just gonna leave. So I joined. And to me, it was an eye-opener. Like, oh my god, it's like The Sims, but it's real time, and you can be these animal people too, and you can talk to people. That's great. I love this. Of course, my ex did not like me being on there because bad people, but I liked it. I enjoyed being there because it started to gain friends. Like some of the first people that I met there, still remember it. One of them was a very weird creature. It was like, it looked like an Anubis, I guess, but had a long tail, and staff. It was very feminine and things. There was a guy, just guy voice. That was Vix. He was one of the people who took me under his wing when I joined. 'Cause I guess he noticed how scared I was. I was afraid of everything and everyone. I did not know the damage that my ex had done until I joined here. Let me shrink you. So, he was one of the people that helped me out. He just was around to talk to. He got me a job at where I joined. It was great. I was on. Like, I'm not sure how many hours I spent on this place. But it was a long time. I remember. I can. I'd like go home from work and be on for hours. But let's see. We're gonna draw this. I remember one day. I'll never forget that day. I'm gonna try and draw this as best as I can. So here is a sandbox, as we call it. You can go and like customize your avatar or whatever. And normally when I went to this one, it was usually pretty empty. Sometimes people would show up and stuff, but when I got on, usually it's not that full of people yet because it was mainly Americans at the time. So I thought, I'm just gonna go up here and relax and stuff. Because it's usually pretty empty. So, I up here, like here, me. Yeah. Usually, a common site it's empty, so I'm just gonna go and relax. Except this time, when I decided to go, it was full of people. Right where I was teleporting in. They were all standing there talking, and stuff. Creatures of all sorts. Circles and dogs and, you know, just people, and I did not want to get in their way, so I decided I'm just gonna sneak past. So I started to sneak because I needed to go this way, past them, right here. So now I'm over on this side, and I hear and so I stopped. Like, wait, someone say my name? No, it can't be it, right? And then I remember. And I was super scared. Super scared. Because I wasn't sure what's going on. But suddenly, the people looked at me and, like, came over to me. I also remember very vividly a couple of them. I'm gonna move them over here, like here. One was a cat. She was like on a leash. It was weird. But yeah, it was a cat on a leash. I thought it was weird because this was the first time of me ever seeing anything that has to do with like BDSM and all that. I never heard of it before this time. I remember she had black hair. She was white. I remember that. But I also remember I remember this husky coming over together with the cat, and they started talking to me, both of them, and then all of them. They all started talking to me like, wow, it was great, but also frightening because so many people all at once are talking to me now. Oh wow. But then I started hanging with these two. Like, I believe it was every day, almost every day, I would talk to them. Then the cat disappeared for a few years. Don't know what happened to her, but I remember she went missing. But during that time, me and the husky started talking more and more. And then we started hanging out. It was great. And we tried, I remember, a few times it was like in Second Life, it's all role play, it's all a game that we tried going out, but it was all a game. But slowly, I guess, but surely, real, true feelings started growing, and after a while, I just realized I had fallen heads over heels for this husky. And the more I hung around him, the more I wanted to be with him. Like, not just in Second Life, but in real life. I wanted to be with him. Like, everything screamed I wanted to be with him. But he was much younger than me, and he was other people at the time. But I remember I was slowly growing, like, I guess, protective of him in a way. I remember standing up for him when people did things to him. I remember being there when girls would have mistreated him. I remember it very vividly, a few of them. But one of them is probably the one that I remember the most because no, I'll never forget that one. Anyway, so that's him. And now we're at where I am right now. Doing okay. My life has been, I guess, not the easiest. My life started with, it started with cataract. Wait, let me redo this. Cataract and food allergy. And then and abusive step parents, alcohol, bullied, bullied 12 years straight. Abuse by boyfriends, back stab by best friend. The friend I was talking about later on decided to stab me in the back. Abuse from society. That's pretty much my life. How, like all the hardship I have gone through. Started with cataract and me not be able to eat anything. Then I got my Asperger's diagnosis. Abusive step parents, alcoholic dad, which me growing up I didn't see it as an issue, but later on, well, you learn, yeah, it's bad. I was bullied for 12 years straight. I was abused both mentally and physically by boyfriends, former boyfriends, and raped, backstabbed by the best friend, and abused from society, because when you have a condition like I have, my Asperger's, society will not look at you as if you're a human. Yeah. But out of all this, there's always a bright side. This is all the gloom. But I'm gonna list up the bright side now. So let's use a happy color. That's not a happy. That's a awful color. Here we go. Bright one. Here. Okay. Can it be seen? Yes, it can. Okay, so first things first. Daughter. My daughter is my life. Let me redo that. That's not pretty. Happy color. My daughter, my cat, these three people have kept me from doing real bad things to myself, and I can never thank them enough for that. It doesn't matter if we have our moments where we have spats or whatever, nothing will change the immense gratitude I have for these three. Because they stuck by me when I was at my absolute lowest. Like, I remember once I wanted to end it. It was shortly after I got into a fight with a former friend online over a stupid thing like a character that was shared between the two of us. And that was also at the same time when I decided to leave my ex. And it's because of these three that I did not do what I had in mind to do. I was on this overpass bridge for pedestrians. I was standing there looking down at the traffic going down below and suddenly felt this extremely terrifying feeling that, what if I jumped here? Everything would be gone, I wouldn't feel the pain anymore. But then, in my head, I saw the image of my daughter, but also of Kane. Then I got mad at myself and dragged myself to the clinic, and then I got help. It turned out I was both severely depressed and I also had my first anxiety attack that year. But these people have supported me through all these years. They helped me drag myself out of a bubble that I formed around myself because I didn't want to hurt anymore. I didn't want to hurt people either. But they got me out of it and got me on my feet. I am where I am right now because of them. Especially that one. Because almost since day one I met him, he has always been around and gave me the strength to leave my ex and help me build myself up. So basically, these people saved my life. That's why I owe so much. I owe so much to them. So, to these three, and yeah, that's my life. Sometimes, even though it seems like nothing good will come out of anything, because all you ever experience it is pain, hurt, betrayal. You think there is nothing that can actually make you happy, I guess, because for whatever reason you're not supposed to be happy. You're not meant to be happy. And I used to be a Lutheran, I guess, but then I kept questioning if there was a God, why isn't he helping me? Why is he putting me through this? So then I turned Christianity around, like I'm not gonna go through this anymore. And then I turned to spiritual stuff instead. And I feel happy about that. But yeah, that's the story of my life. It's amazing I'm even smiling or anything. Normally I think something like that would break a person, and it has. But I keep trying. That's all you can do, really, right? I'm here, I'm alive, and I owe my life to these three. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this. This was hard to do. Sorry, it's a bit of a sad one. Yeah, but thank you so much. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.